Oh my goodness. I'm a little nervous for them.
Oh.
One piece of advice: never argue with TSA. As I'm reading that, I already know they got the police on the way. Oh wow. This is hard. How many friendships break up when they take trips together? Hey you, welcome back to my channel, and if you're new here, welcome. My name is Jenny and I'm a licensed psychotherapist. Today we're doing something I've never done before. We're breaking down one of those Am I the Asshole posts. So if you're interested, please keep on watching. When I saw this particular one, I was like, oh my goodness. So I'm going to look down and I'm going to read it for you, okay? It says, am I the asshole for pretending not to know my fiance after she had a meltdown during the boarding plane and was eventually thrown off? Y'all, TSA is no joke. As someone who likes to travel and wants to stay off the no-fly list, I don't know, I'm getting a little bit, I'm starting to be on the original poster side. Let's keep reading. I imagine I'm going to get raked over the coals for this one. So my fiance, maybe not for much longer, and I were on our way back from a vacation recently. It was a great time and everything went off without an issue. That was until we started boarding the plane. Now, I know better. I only bring a small backpack with essentials in case I don't get my checked bags. I can survive out of this backpack and it will always pass baggage check for size and weight. Done a lot of traveling, so why fight the system? As someone who loves to travel myself, I am the queen of overpacking, but I am also the queen of the carry-on. I don't like checking bags because my baggage has been lost in travel before. So if I'm traveling somewhere pretty far, I will check in an empty bag so that way I can bring back my goodies. But my necessities stay with me throughout the flight. They're coming with me. So I can understand the original poster. All right, let's keep going. My fiance didn't want to listen to my advice and chose to bring basically a regular full-size bag that barely fits the standards of carry-on. But generally speaking, the airline worker doesn't want to deal with the trouble and allows it through. But this time, the airline worker was not having it. It was a packed flight, and we were boarding last in economy with a regular size bag disguised as a carry-on bag. Oh my goodness. I'm a little nervous for them. It was a packed flight, and we were boarding last in economy, and it was just a shit show. I go through just fine with my little backpack. The way this person puts those words together, like I go through just fine with my little backpack, lets me know that something is about to happen here that is not good. But I could hear the argument from the boarding tunnel thingy and it was getting heated. One piece of advice: never argue with TSA. Never argue with a flight attendant. Yes, it's important to advocate for yourself, but that no-fly list seems a little permanent. I was about to go back and try to smooth it out, but my fiance rushed past and just boarded the plane. Oh wow. This person could have used some tips on how to ground yourself. Of course, sometimes I've had TSA throw out things to me that I like. And when they're throwing out my things, I get a little frustrated. I'm not gonna lie, it is frustrating. But the power balance there, sometimes some things we must just move on. And what they threw away from me was some gel that I wanted to try. It was when Equal Styler had that gold gel. I don't know if you all know what I'm talking about, but I was really excited to try this gel. And I thought that it wasn't liquid and it was a solid, but they didn't know either. So they're like, we're throwing it away. I was a little bit annoyed, but I had to be quiet because I wanted to get to my destination. Money would be lost. You got to weigh the pros and the cons here. But fiance ran onto the plane and sat down. As I'm reading that, I already know they got the police on the way. The police are on the way to greet her. I assume, not having heard it super clearly, that the attendant had given in and let her on. That was not the case. So we found our seats and settled in. I was pretty tired and I could tell she was upset. So I just kind of tucked into the window and put my hat down and tried to take a nap. But soon after, the airline worker and a cop shows up and they are not fucking around and want her off the plane. She tries to plead and cry, etc., but they are not having it. Let me tell you, as soon as you do one thing, the flight attendant, they don't want any issues in the air. They don't want to have to make emergency landing. So they try to honestly get rid of any issues they might have in the air. They try to get rid of it before they take off. And maybe in a moment of panic or just plain self-preservation, the cop asks if we're together, and I blurt out no, shaking my head emphatically. I got kill dagger eyes from her as she shot up and grabbed her bag and followed the cop out. She was also swearing and screaming the whole way out. Oh my goodness. I know he tried to tell her not. Oh wow. This is hard. This is hard because if the original poster is saying that he did try to warn her and she didn't listen, then I don't know. Yes, you want to support your loved ones, but if this is going to affect you negatively, then there are consequences that come to actions. Personally, if I'm with you and I'm traveling and you start to be rude to the flight attendant, you're not listening to their rules, it's public transportation. If you're not listening to their rules, they have their rules in place for a reason. Of course, things come up like certain isms, like things come up that are inappropriate. But if a flight attendant is telling you to do something for a reason, that you can't have this bag for this reason or whatever the case may be, then you have to follow it if you want to get on. The airplane has certain rules for this reason. So while I don't think it was nice that he left her, don't bring me down with your problems. You're the one that decided to be rude to the flight attendant. Why should I be impacted negatively for this? That's the way I'm thinking right now. I haven't finished reading the whole thing, but that's what I'm thinking. And I have to be honest here. Like, don't bring me down because of your choices. That's not okay. We all must face consequences of our actions. And that's why it's really important to learn how to ground yourself. It's important. And obviously, sometimes when we travel, it can be a nerve-wracking experience because I remember reading somewhere, and I wish I could remember that when you're traveling, you're more likely to get into an argument with your travel companion. And that's why so many friendships break up when they take trips together. So I think it's really important to say, okay, I'm going to get to the airport earlier. I'm going to take a smaller bag. I'm going to follow those rules. I'm not mad at the original poster right now. I'm not mad because, well, why bring me down because of your actions? Yes, I love you. I want to support you, but you're putting me on a predicament where I could be on a no-fly list. And she's screaming and cursing the whole way out. All right, let's get back to it. Now, obviously, this is well after the event I'm posting this, but when she did eventually get home, she caught the next flight out with the checked bag. LOL. Oh, this original poster is very petty. Original poster is very petty and wants to say I told you so. I was there to pick her up. She obviously thought I was the asshole. And to be honest, almost everyone I know thinks I'm an asshole except my boss and coworkers, who for context were very much relying on me to be back on time. Okay, so the original poster had obligations to get back home to. It's not just for themselves that they wanted to get back. I'm starting to understand their position a little bit better, which I gave my word I would, for a really important project that was time sensitive. They were all very happy I didn't get thrown off too. So, am I the asshole for this self-preservation? This is a hard one, but I'm going to have to say editing Jenny is back, and I'm going to have to say 50-50 just because we all make mistakes and can use compassion. However, they talked about the bags. They talked about the original poster needing to be back home because of work. They talk about all these responsibilities that were waiting for them back home. Would it have been nice for original poster to get off? Yes, but there were things needed to be done, and she was able to catch the next flight out. Now, on the other hand, I will say that we all get anxious in flights. We're more likely to argue with our travel companions. We're more likely to argue on trips. It happens every day. People are complaining about friendships that end after a trip. It happens. So if we are aware that we're more anxious or whatever the case may be, it might be beneficial to work out some grounding techniques. And to also talk to the people that we're traveling with to, hey, like if you can support me, sometimes I get anxious and nervous traveling, then that could be beneficial too. Okay, editing Jenny here, and one big component I forgot to include was the fight, flight, freeze, and fawn, because I think it played out here. I think the fiance was fighting, and I think the original poster froze. original poster was also like, I told you so. So they didn't want to get off because they're like, okay, I told you so, while the other fiance was trying to fight to stay on board, not kindly, of course. I do think we make mistakes as humans, as people. So personally, I would have gotten off of the flight to support my friend, but I would think twice about flying with them again. So I will have to be honest about that. Would it have been nice for the original poster to get off and support her? Yes, it would have been. But would it be okay for them to also get in trouble at work because of something like this? I don't know. But I had to look this up. What are the rules of traveling? Do you have to get off the flight? Do you also get in trouble if your partner is getting in trouble? I don't think they would get in trouble, but I have to look this up. It would have been nice for him to get off and support her, especially if she had a history of being nervous and anxious on flights, because sometimes that can look like us arguing because we're far away from home, we're far away from comfort. So what do you think? Let me know in the comments. I'd love to hear your thoughts. If you've made it this far into the video, thank you. As always, if you're interested, please like, comment, and subscribe. I look forward to chatting with you all in the comments. I want to know exactly what you think. Who is the asshole in this situation? The original poster or the fiance? I look forward to chatting with you in the comments. Bye.